Okay, I have a 2003 Chevy Tahoe and someone broke into it and they did something here and they basically, I don't know, took a screwdriver or something and just punched the lock into it, and I don't know exactly how it works, but then I guess you can open the door because it's not locking the door. I don't know. Anyway, they were able to break in the car and steal stuff, but now I'm trying to fix it, and I looked for videos and I couldn't find anything that did exactly what I'm trying to do here. All I'm trying to do is put the key back in there, and I'll show you the steps to do that. Alright, so I've already been in there and I removed the lock cylinder that got punched in there, and you can kind of see, hopefully the video shows it, but it sure looks like they just took a big screwdriver and a hammer and just punched the thing in. And if I show you the door handle, so here's a new door handle I bought, but in the back it's just plastic, and I've already looked inside the car. So here's the new door handle I bought, and on the back, you know, it's just plastic. This thing is going to go in right in there. I'm going to remove that retaining screw, and it's going to go in there, something like that. And since this is metal, that's plastic, guess what part broke? It was the handle part and not the lock cylinder. And that's actually a good thing, because if you buy a new lock cylinder, I mean, there are videos on how to reset them to your key, but basically you have to take it to a locksmith, and I don't know how much they charge, but they'll charge X amount, a lot more than this plastic part. This thing was like $8 or something. But anyway, they will charge you to rekey it so you can have the same key that opens the door and starts the car and all that stuff. So if this part broke, you're in a lot more trouble than if this part broke. Alright, so taking these pieces off, yeah, it really doesn't matter what order you use them, but there's a piece right here, and this you just use, you know, some kind of trim remove tool, a screwdriver, whatever the case may be. I got a set of 4 of these for like $6 off of Amazon, not that much, but it's just friction holders. Obviously this thing goes in first. And just pound it back into place. Mine is not in very good shape. It should have a little reflector over this, but basically here's the light bulb. And I took the light bulb out also, just in case. I didn't want it to get broken or anything, but I'm going to go ahead and put the light bulb back in it and put it through. And this just is held in there. You just use these same kind of clip tools. Just get behind it and pry it out. Pry it out real easy. There's my light bulb. And I guess it does go in this end first. It's got some hooks right here and plus that light fixture. And then you just snap it in. So when you take it out, you do the reverse. You pop it from here and take it out. And then there's 2 screws here. These are 7mm. So this is the door handle one, and I've labeled it so I know which one's which. And it's just right underneath there. There's no cover for it or anything. It just is going to go right in. And then there's a screw that goes right here. And those are the only 2 screws you have to remove to get the door panel off. So it's just got a little hole in the back of it. You're going to put that thing with it and just slide it in place. Easy as that. There's this little handle cover, and it's going to have a hook here. So when you so it's going to push in and pop back, but when you take it off, you take off reverse, you kind of pry this side out and it comes right out. So first I got to get this hole in here. And then pop it in there. And then that's in. And the other part I wanted to cover, so there was a screw underneath here, and I thought I had to take it off to remove the door, but it really just goes in and holds in this tray. So if you ever do want to clean this tray, which mine was kind of dirty at the bottom, you could wash it out and clean it out, and without removing the whole door or anything like that. It was pretty easy. Alright, and for this piece, all the videos I found online said, oh, pop it out at the front and it just comes right out. Now in my particular car, it's bolted in. So I broke this piece right there, went to right there. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'm probably just going to let gravity hold it in place because I can't really fix that. But so just be aware. You might tug on it a little bit, but if it doesn't come off easy, it's probably because you're bolted in place. And I probably just had to remove the whole door panel and then unclip these from behind. So just be aware that every video on YouTube is not correct, and this may be correct for your car and may not, so just know that some of them are bolted down. And then reinstalling this is just as easy as putting these clips back, or plugging these back in, which is probably not going to work real well for the video, but I'll plug those in and then it snaps in here. And again, I told you when I took it off it broke here, so I'm just gonna, I don't know if I should take that piece out or do what with it, but I'll probably just leave it in there. And I'm sure gravity will hold it in good enough. Okay, so once you have everything off of there, it's not a pull. You don't pull and get a pry bar in here or anything. It's just hooks. You just go up and out, and then I just gotta wire these things through and it'll come off. And then you're out of there. All right, so on the door cover, when you take it off, all these things, there's nothing that pops out of the door. These basically, you push up and then basically out. And they're all hooks here. So you just got to find the right screws and then just up and out. All right, so we got this thing apart, and this just has self-adhesive on it. And you can feed these cables through. Now, I don't need to take it all off. Back to about here. That door handle thing is, right there, so I don't need to take that whole thing off, but that door cylinder had come off from right here, and I'm going to leave that on there. And I'll put that back up in there. Now the hard part is we have to get this guy out, and if you can see, it's got 1, 2, 3 screws, and I've got it upside down, so it's in like this. So this screw is real easy to get to. It's right through here, but the other 2 screws don't have easy access to them, so I'll probably have to get some flat end wrench maybe, and I don't know, maybe some of these holes in the door allow me to get access to it, but let's check it out. Alright, so this plug right here, it's standard. I just used a screwdriver to get under there and peel it off. It popped off really easy. It's pretty flexible rubber. And so the upper left screw is here. You can get to the bottom screw here, and there's another screw. Now the thing is, the window slide rail unit is right there, or motor, whatever it is. Maybe I could undo this screw and move that out the way, but I think, my hand reaches up behind there pretty easy when the window's up. I'm just going to take these are 10mm bolts. I'm going to take a 10mm, open-ended wrench and just see if I can take off that screw before I go disassembling all of that, because I'm not real sure. That rail connects to here. Just removing that one bolt I don't think does me any good. I'd probably have to remove the whole dang thing, so I'm going to try to get to it with this and see how easy that is. Alright, so it really wasn't bad at all. I had just to do this about 2 or 3 turns, and then it was, it's clean, it's not rusty. I was able just to remove it with my fingers at that point. So not bad at all. Now I'll take off the other 2, they'll be real easy. And the one thing you do want to be careful with, I'm sure, is when you take them out, if you were to drop it, it's going to go down that bottom of that door, which you can get to, but I don't know how easy it is. It goes to a V, and it might get really tight and stuck in there, so make sure you don't drop the bolts. And then I just pass that one through the handle on the other side, which is basically undone now. Alright, and showing the new part, how this thing works, there's that rod in there. I basically have to just snap that off the rod and then it'll pull out. Just like that. And you can see, if I compare it to the new one, it did just break out, I don't know, the back side of that plastic piece. So that's actually a good thing, but I don't know. I wish they'd make these in metal. It'd make your car a lot more secure. Totally optional, but it's pretty dirty and nasty, right? I'm gonna just clean it up before I install the new piece on there. Alright, so now it looks nice and new. Why not? Now we'll install the door handle. Okay, so now it's time to put this back together. This was hanging kind of down there. I basically pulled this up because we need to snap this in and then put on our, whatever that is, that pin into the door thing. So I got the door thing here. This should just snap right in. Well, maybe it's not the easiest thing to snap in. I'm gonna go ahead and take off this retaining pin. I'm sure it should just stretch though. Bet you I just need to use more force, but I could totally take that off real easy. Alright, I've just kind of slid it out of place. It's got some tension on it. I can't let go or it'll snap back in, but I'm basically... I basically put it in there and I just snapped that thing right back up. And maybe it would have been easier to just take the rod off it. I don't know. I'm not a car repairman here. I'm just a guy that figures this stuff out. This has to be rotated the other way. Snap that into place. Just gonna push that down, get it under there, and then now we just put those bolts back on. Alright, you can use any method you want, but this is a method that has worked well for me because sometimes these projects might even take a day or two. This one's not that bad, but you make different things. Door handle nuts, the manual door lock, and I've got the screw that went there, and the screw that went on the door handle thing, and the bottom screws are different lengths, so I kind of keep it organized. And this is just an old box that I broke down. I can write on with a Sharpie. And so anyway, I recommend that just to help you keep track. And if you really want to put it in order you took them off, some people number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you know, when they all level up on each other. Putting the bolts in, I mean, just the opposite. I'm still going to put in the 2 easy ones first before I do the kind of the hard one. And again, you don't want to drop these down in that well. Wish I could get my fingers on it because it'd feel a lot easier. You don't have much feel, but that worked. I'm not tightening it up yet. I'll tighten it up when I get them all on there. And I'm going to stabilize this nut on the other side. So this one I can get to. I don't even need this. I'm going to put it on my hand at first. Put it all back together, and definitely test it before you put it all back together, because it'd be bad if it didn't work. Yep, all working. Alright, so putting it back is just the reverse. This one cable I fed through, which I didn't even have to take out after all. I didn't know how far I was going to strip it back. And it still has adhesive on it, so we're just gonna put it all back. Alright, and then the door cover. I know this is probably difficult to see, but on these hooks right here, I'm touching on the bottom ones, and they even have a little extra lip, because this is how they want you to install it. So I hit there, and I'm going to hinge forward. I need to make sure these cables come through and stuff like that. But then that basically aligns it. Alright, so I did lift up a little bit, and then pushed in, and then went down. So you're going to be on that bottom thing. And then just check all your corners, make sure, you know, nothing didn't hook, which it hooked. Kind of forgot, but anyway, put this cover back on. Pretty easy. So there it is, all back together. Everything works.